Greetings to you, noble students of JC Best Schools International. Welcome to week 4, third term 2019-2020 academic session. I remain your noble teacher, Mr. Oguche Ezekiel. Today, we have a very special topic to discuss in this class, and that topic is titled Educational Institutions. Educational institutions. Very interesting topic, you might say. Let's begin. What exactly is educational institution? For us to be properly guided, the specific objectives of this class would be that by the end of this class, students should be able to define education, explain the forms of education, then state the benefits of education to society. By way of definition, education is the process through which an individual or a group of people acquire knowledge, skills, and acceptable social values that will make them productive and resourceful members of the society. So you see, education is a common practice peculiar to humankind. From time immemorial, we all have been educated in one form or the other. No human being can claim to have existed in human society without undergoing one form of education or the other. And that is why education has remained a central feature of humankind. Through education, we acquire knowledge, but you cannot be said to be educated, completely educated, if your kind of education is restricted to knowledge acquisition. And so, the next that is included is skills. You acquire skills. But knowledge and skills cannot make an individual a complete being or fully educated being unless the third component of it is acquired, and that is attitude, good character, morals. Many people believe, scholars believe, that of these three components of education, essential features of education, knowledge, skills, and attitude or morals, it is believed that the moral component is even very, very important, or if you like, more important than the knowledge and skill. No wonder Albert Einstein would say, your ability can take you to the top, but it takes character to preserve you there. So knowledge and skills could be acquired anytime, but your sense of identity lies in your character. So an educated person must be a moral being, somebody whose action is tend towards promoting society and the common good. So through education, knowledge is acquired, skills, and the will is strengthened. So, apart from being knowledgeable and skillful, an educated person must possess good character traits and is expected to be useful to himself and the society at large. Education takes place under formal, semi-formal, and informal arrangements. Let's look at the forms of education. The first form of education we'll be discussing today is formal education. Formal education is an organized arrangement in which people are taught according to their age and level of understanding. Formal education takes place in conventional settings like schools and is based on clearly established curricular and extracurricular activities. Like in JSS2 International, we don't just teach. There are specific schemes that we follow to ensure that teaching and learning takes place. That makes our institution a formal place of learning. Formal education takes place in JSS2 International because if you come to these schools, students are taught according to their age and level of understanding. You come to GS1, for example, the students there are of about the same age. The age range is specific. You get to JS2, JS3, and so on and so forth. So according to age and level of understanding, that kind of education is more or less described as formal education. And there are streamlined activities, both cognitive, psychomotor, skill acquisition, different kind of activities takes place in formal setting. And this is systematically, carefully organized. So all forms of formal education usually lead to certification. You can now be certified in character and learning after undergoing the streamlined program or courses or subjects as the case may be. The second form of education is what we call semi-formal education. This form of education has both the elements of formal and informal systems of education. It is an arrangement through which people acquire knowledge and skills in certain trades or crafts. So semi-formal education has some elements of formal education and some elements of informal education. Elements of formal education because in a sense it could lead to certification, but the program is not always systematically organized as is the case with formal education. In other words, we are saying that the learners serve as apprentices for an agreed period upon which they are certified to practice as independent professionals. For example, if you go into shoemaking, you go into tailoring, you want to be a mechanic, all these things you have to undergo what we call an apprenticeship system. If you become an apprentice, you learn under your master. Over a period of time, you acquire the skill in that craft. You can now be certified to practice as an independent professional of that particular trade. So semi-formal education is not systematically organized like formal education, but it takes place anyway under some sort of informal arrangement. That's why we say it has elements of formal and informal education. The third form of education is the one we call informal education. Informal education, if you like, can be described as the foremost form of education, the first form of education everybody acquires. That's why at the beginning of this class, I argued that there is nobody in the human space, in the human society, that has not acquired education one way or the other, even from time immemorial, because it might be confusing or it might be misleading to represent school as the only medium through which education takes place. Education could also take place at home. That is what we describe or call informal education. So, informal education is an unplanned form of education that helps us to learn and acquire social values and skills. It could take place at home. It could also take place in school, because you're also in school while you are focused on specific subjects, content, specific issues to learn in a particular subject. You could also learn through your friends, through your classmates, through your teachers, anybody, even the non-academic staff, the supporting staff in school could help you learn one or two social skills and values. So the school could also be a place where we acquire informal education. How about churches and mosques, marketplace, etc.? Anywhere you go, as far as you can acquire valuable knowledge and skill, it becomes education. But what makes it informal is that it was unplanned. It has no curriculum and does not necessarily lead to certification. Like in the house, for example, your parents will teach you how to do house chores, how to respect elders, how to practice principles of honesty. All these things form part of education, but not formal or semi-formal. What do we call them? Informal education. Now that we have looked at the three forms of education: formal education, semi-formal education, and informal education, it is only right to say that education has a couple of benefits. It is difficult for me to see the disadvantage of education. I only see advantages. But I'm also aware, even though it's arguable, I'm also aware that some people would think that education has some disadvantage. But to me, as an individual, in my own opinion, I believe that education has no disadvantage. The misuse of education is what people might confuse to be some sort of disadvantage. But as far as we can tell, education is full of extraordinary benefits. So what are the benefits of education? What are those things that makes education relevant? What do we gain and acquire from education? Number one, acquisition of literacy and numeracy skills. What is literacy? Ability to read and write. Numeracy, ability to make one or two calculations that will help us run through daily businesses. You can read and write, you can be said to be illiterate, you can be said to be literate. Although some people have redefined literacy. In the 21st century, like an American sociologist and philosopher named Alvan Tova, he said, the illiterate of the 21st century can no longer be the man who cannot read and write, but that man who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So we've gone beyond that normal level of saying an illiterate is somebody that cannot read and write. The 21st century is much more advanced. Almost everybody in our society today, almost everybody can read and write. So how do you now see literacy or literacy? If you can read and write, you cannot claim to be illiterate until you have that ability, that open mind to learn, to unlearn what is not necessary, and to relearn new things that will make you fit into the 21st century jet age. You can now be said to be a literate person. So the first benefit of education is the acquisition of literacy and numeracy skill. Number two, education provides the ingredients for acquiring acceptable social values. Social values such as honesty, tolerance, punctuality, hard work, discipline, and even patriotism. Like what we have on the screen, they say honesty is the best policy. This has been one of the values we've cherished in our society over the years. From childhood, I've always heard this: honesty is the best policy. To be honest, is very, very nice. After all, scripture will tell you, say the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And like many of us believe, honesty is the habit of telling the truth at all times. Tolerance. One powerful value that everybody must cherish in the society is tolerance. We all do not share the same opinion, the same religion, the same belief system. There are diversities. There are different beliefs. And so you cannot claim that yours is superior or better off than to the other person. So what we do is that while you hold your own belief, respect the belief, practices, values, and opinion of other people on any subject matter. That's what we call tolerance. If an individual is not tolerant, the individual might become an extremist of his position. And if you become an extremist of your position, you have no option but to detest people each time they issue their opinion from their own point of view. So we must be tolerant. Punctuality. People will say punctuality is the soul of business. No African time. If they say a program is starting by 6 o'clock, by 6, it will start immediately. And everybody is expected to be there at exactly 6 o'clock. If classes would begin by 9 a.m., students are expected to be there at least some few minutes before 9. Punctuality is the soul of business. Hard work, dedication to duty, discipline, patriotism, and love for one's country are some of the benefits that accrues from education. Number 3, we say education gives citizenship education as a basis for effective participation and contribution to the life of the society. So citizenship education, it helps the individual acquire knowledge of their rights and responsibility. Your rights as a citizen, as enshrined in the Constitution, you need to know them so that whenever your rights are violated, you are aware and you can seek for redress. How about your duties as citizens, such as payment of tax? If you don't perform your duty as a citizen, the government cannot perform its responsibility. Why citizens owe the state that civic duty so that the government can, citizens owe the state the civic duty such as payment of tax, while the government in turn owe us the responsibility of preserving and protecting our rights. You acquire citizenship education through education. Number 4, education lays a sound foundation for scientific and reflective thinking. If you become educated, you become scientific in reasoning. When we say you reason scientifically, we are saying that you reason in a systematic order, in an organized means. You think before you leap. You reflect over issues before you say them. You don't jump into hasty conclusions. People that are unscientific in thinking are the people that usually cause trouble in our society. Just to hear something, they run into undue conclusion. So when you become educated, your brain is refined. You can now reason in a systematic, logical, and orderly fashion. Number 5, education develops in the child the ability to adapt to the ever-changing environment. Our environment keeps changing due to human activity, due to natural occurrences, so many things, cause even the social order tends to change from time to time. Like those days, our forefathers, majority of them were polygamous, but today many people tend to be monogamous. When there is a change in the society, individuals tend to pattern their life so that it suits, it fits in. Education provides that benefit. Number 6, education gives the child opportunity to develop manipulative skills so that the child can function effectively in the society. Manipulative skills are important. They help individuals to learn how to participate in various activities, to acquire skills that will help them participate effectively in various social practices. That is the 6th benefit of education. We've come to the end of today's class, but we have some classwork for you to do instead of assignments. So we are referring you to the Social Studies Google Classroom. Kindly copy your notes there. After copying your notes, classwork will be made available for all students. Your understanding of this today's class would be critical. So if you must pass that, do well in that classwork, you have to make sure you watch this video again and again and again, and read the notes that will be presented in the Google Classroom platform. Thank you so much for listening. Until I come your way next time, I remain your noble teacher, Mr. Oguche Ezekiel. God bless you.